Yeah, we're currently broadcasting. I can hear it through my headset. I don't have the stream open, but I can pull it up. One sec, my computer's slow. Go ahead and say something so I can listen to the stream. Yeah, they can't hear you on the stream. I think you have to choose to broadcast on your end. Looks like we have a little bit of time though, as we're still waiting for some people to show up here. Thank you for everybody's patience. Mm-hmm. So if you go to the party, you should be able to click broadcast when you click on your name. Oh, you are? Mm. No worries. Guess you'll be able to make it to your T3 race anyway. Not sure. Well, should I drop you from the stream then? No worries. Thanks for trying. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you everybody for waiting through those technical difficulties. We will not have a co-commentator today, but my name is TJ Gagne. This is the Tribune Racing League test race here at Spa. Let's see if we can catch some of our drivers as they leave the pits out for qualifying. We're running an 18-minute qualifying today. Looks like we're here with D Smurfin 4220 on their out lap. Let's see if they can put something together as we start out on race day. Just here with a couple people on their out lap. Actually, might go ahead and switch over to Ross on as he leaves the pit. He is one of the admins of Tribune Racing League, putting up pretty impressive times, so he should have a solid lap as we head around. Again, thank you for everybody's patience as we started out today. We were hoping for a co-commentator, but he was unable to make it work. I will be commentating along for both qualifying and all of the 50% race as we have our first test of Tier 1 here in Tribune Racing League, hosted by @F1 Tribune on Instagram. I'll be trying to follow along in the chat, so if anybody has any questions about any of the drivers, I can try to answer them. We have some of the trial times throughout as they raced 3 different circuits to qualify for different sections and tiers within this racing league. Oh, we've got a yellow flag here in Sector 3. Doesn't look like anybody's been off too bad. Everybody's still moving along the outer rim of Blanchimont on the mini-map. Okay, warming up the tires as he comes up to the bus stop. Let's go ahead and head on board with him as he heads for his first qualifying lap. He's coming up to La Source now, the first hairpin on this Belgian circuit. There's a yellow flag here in Sector 1 now. It's cleared out, so it won't affect his lap time too much as he heads up to Eau Rouge. Another yellow flag in Sector 1. Not sure what's causing those ahead of him. Looks like a slowdown as he comes along the Camel Straight, still flat out. Weaving around a bit to keep some air in those tires. Ooh, and that's not going to work for him. Let's go ahead and head on with somebody else as they head around the lap, perhaps one of the Mercedes, Vital Spartan. Fastest lap so far put up by D. Smurfin 4:2:20, a 1:42.3 or 4. They were the first one out of the pit though, so it's likely that we will see some times a little bit faster than that. Dylan F1 has put up a time a second and a half slower, unfortunately, in his Alfa Romeo. Or Ferrari, my apologies. Jet Belly 1 of the Mercedes is 0.7 seconds behind D. Smurfin's Haas. 13 minutes to go here in qualifying. FIFA Legend 123, a really competitive time of a 1:42.8. Let's go ahead and stick with Vital Spartan here as he comes around the bus stop. Watching Ross head into the pits there. Here we come down the pit straight with the DRS wide open of the Mercedes of Vital Spartan. He put up a 1:57. This should be a much more competitive lap time as he comes around the hairpin. Light up already up to 6th and 7th gear as he comes through Eau Rouge. Really hoping to improve this time. We've had a lot of 1:42 so far, 4 of them. Coming along the Kimmel straight, he'll hit that DRS button in 8th gear. Coming up to the Layscombe chicanes. Let's see if he can navigate it. Really nice line. Wow. Heading through Sector 2 and up to Bruxelles, and this descending hairpin turn on the backside of the Spa track. Really looks like we could see a pretty competitive time out of Vital Spartan here on this flying lap. Hoping to best D. Smurfin of a 1:42.4. Yellow flags in sectors 2 and 3 now. Hopefully that won't impede Vital Spartan's lap time too much. A little bit of a bob there to the right. Can he recover and make up the time that he needs to qualify ahead before getting into the pits and possibly changing up his setup for a final run at the end of this qualifying? Coming along Blanchimont now. Nice wide sweeping left-hand turn flat out. He's got Jet Belly's Mercedes right in front of him as he comes up to the bus stop. Well navigated. Let's see if he can put up a good time. And a 1:43.3 for Vital Spartan. Not going to do it. Going to leave him in 7th place. Why don't we go ahead and check in with the McLaren EDMG. Second fastest time. He's slowly coming back to the track, but he will be potentially taking a lap should he not have to come into the pits for some sort of sustained injury to his car here. He is going to dive into the pits. Ooh, close to the wall. Looks like most are heading back into the pits to change their setup before the second half of qualifying. Let's check in with somebody on their outlap who has not yet set a time. Here we are with the Red Bull of PB715. Coming around the back hairpin of Spa. Should just be another 45 seconds before we see a flying lap out of the Red Bull. You'll forgive me as I take some intermittent breaks here. I am commentating alone. It should be about an hour's worth, so I'm hoping to provide as much commentary as possible. Just a little bit further now with the Red Bull as he comes along the third sector and hopes to put up a lap time with just over 9.5 minutes remaining in qualifying. Both of the racing points yet to put up a time. They are 2 of the admins for Tribune Racing League. Hopefully they'll be able to put something together before the end of qualifying, but we're on board now with PB715 as he comes around La Source. Well done around that hairpin onto the outside line as he comes through Eau Rouge. Up Radion and onto the Kemmel straight. Well done there. Inside track limits nicely. Hilt DRS in 8th gear. and a very, very late break into Les Combs. Yellow flag in Sector 2. Looks like it's behind him, so it shouldn't affect him too much. Still hoping to best the 142.4 of D. Smurfin 42.20. Really far ahead of everybody else with that time. It should be pretty difficult to best that, as it turns out, on these track conditions. Red Bull now coming through Sector 2 nicely as he hits that sweeping left-hand turn. Daniel with a 142.25, putting up the next best lap time here. That's the racing point we were talking about of the admin. We'll see if the Red Bull can put up anywhere close to that as everybody else around the circuit heads out on their outlap. Coming around the bottom section of Spa and into Sector 3, we see PB really giving it all out in 8th gear, trying to keep a tight line as he comes around Blanchimont. It's all out all the way through. Will he late break into the bus stop? Pretty late there. Around the final corner, let's see what time he can put up here. He's the last one to put up a time. And that's going to be a 6th place for PB715, a 142.6. Well done. Let's check with the other Red Bull as they come around the track. Into the pits he dives. My apologies. Looks like we have a Haas coming around to start a lap. This will be D. Smurfin 42.20, trying to best Daniel's time from before. And he does, a 141.8. Really well done out of that Haas so far. Personal best in the 1st and 3rd sector for D. Smurfin on that one. Pretty slow lap. Let's see if there's anybody else we should check with as we have another yellow flag in Sector 2. Perhaps one of these Mercedes will try to improve their time. Just under 6.5 minutes to go here in qualifying. As it sorts out so far, we've got the Haas of D. Smurfin in 1st, Daniel's Racing Point in 2nd, B37 Weeze's Red Bull, I believe. Let me double check that. It's hard to, AlphaTauri, my apologies, in 3rd, EDMG's McLaren in 4th, and Ross, the other admin's Racing Point in 5th. Got our 13th runner coming on an outlap right now. We'll see if we can check in with them right after Vital Spartan's lap is done here. Perhaps that McLaren will be able to improve upon their time with just a few moments left in qualifying. Both the Ferraris still trying to figure out their setup, obviously, as they're remaining into the pits. Sitting in 11th and a 12th position, unfortunately. Personal best from Vital Spartan in Sector 2 there. Let's see how he can do in Sector 3. If he can get up into the top 5 running positions and hopefully avoid some of the carnage that usually comes along with the hairpin of La Source here on the opening laps of Spa. Oh, and a slowdown. He'll presumably head into the pits or around the corner here. Not going to put up a time that's going to be worth much at all. But this one might be a little bit better. We'll go check in with that McLaren real quick. Here it comes around the bottom of the circuit into Sector 3. Going to need to make up about a little over 4 seconds if it wants to get into 1st place. Go ahead and let the other McLaren pass, hoping to get a little bit of a tow here as it tries to improve its time. Oh, and the McLaren of EDMG is now in 2nd place with a 142 as they head into the pits. No tow for the other McLaren. Let's see if they can put up a competitive lap time, and we'll check in with the Ferraris after that, hoping to improve their times. quickly moving up through the gears as they head through everybody's favorite part of the circuit, Eau Rouge, and up through Radion and onto the Kimmel Straight. A little bit on the curb there. DRS, though, as they're in 8th gear, they'll go ahead and pass the Red Bull ahead of them on a slow lap around the circuit into Les Combes. Not a bad line through that chicane. As they come up to Bruxelles, the back hairpin in Sector 2 on the Belgian track here. Really decent descent. Makes for some difficult braking at the back part of that hairpin, but they seem to navigate it well. Yellow flag in Sector 3 looks to be caused by one of the Ferraris on an outlap. Let's see if it affects the McLaren. The yellow flags are done waving, shouldn't at all. Not sure this time is going to be what they're looking for, unfortunately. Getting a request in the chat to go check out FIFA Legend 123. They've headed into the pits, but when they come back out, we'll definitely make sure to ride along with them. Will they be able to make up any last half seconds or anything through this bus stop? A little bit wide, unfortunately. DRS and still in 13th place. They did improve their time, but it's only a 1:45.1. Check with one of these Ferraris as they head around the track. Which one? Yeah, let's go with Dumpy Juggler 241. Ooh, hit the wall there. Cause a bit of an issue, most likely, if it's had any effect on the front wing as they go out wide. Coming up to campus now. Really wobbly for that Ferrari. Might want to check in with one of the other cars. Ooh, a new fastest lap set by B37 Weeze. We've got D Smurfin on a actually, let's check in with this McLaren here on their outlap. They're in 3rd place. They'll be trying to put up a faster time. EDMG of McLaren. Let's ride along with them and see if D Smurfin behind them can put up another fast time as everybody tries to improve with just a little bit of time left here in qualifying. And don't worry, we will check in with FIFA 123 right here near the end. As they finish up their outlap, we'll finish up with them and see if they can move up into one of the podium positions to start the race. Well navigated, pretty decent line through there. Should have picked up about a half second if they didn't scrub off too much time. Well played, almost hits that apex in the 2nd sector as he comes up to campus. Not sure it's going to be faster than his previous 1:42.2, but he is giving it everything he possibly can as he finishes up qualifying. 3 minutes left remain as qualifying finishes up, and a personal best from the McLaren in Sector 2. And he gave it everything he's got through Blanchimont. He's going to try to have to navigate this Mercedes in front of him without too much difficulty. Could be a little hard and could mess up his final lap time. Let's hope it doesn't. He stays behind it, doesn't late brake too much. Will it be a better time than his previous one? Ooh, into 2nd place he goes. FIFA Legend 123 is out, unfortunately, so we won't check in with him, but we'll finish up here with Daniel, the admin. He's going to want to get ahead of D Smurfin, who's been arguably the most impressive during this qualifying session. Really late break into the bus stop chicane. Around the final corner, will he have put up a faster time? DRS open for one last moment. still in 4th place. Maybe we'll check in with D Smurfin on their final lap as they cross the line. Oh, still a 3rd place, a 1:41.8, 0.03 seconds behind the McLaren ahead of him, and 0.2 behind Wheeze ahead of that. Just finishing up qualifying here as people come across the line. It's looking like we're going to have B37 Wheeze in 1st. Vital Spartan coming through for 2nd place in the Mercedes. The McLaren of EDMG in 3rd. D Smurfins Hoffs in 4th. The Racing Point of Daniel in 5th. And we'll give you some of your following grid in a moment here. Well raced in qualifying. Let's see how everybody can do in the 50% race ahead. To those in the chat worried about FIFA Legend 123, 6th place in their Alfa Romeo, followed by Ross in the Racing Point PB in that Red Bull at 8th. We've got the AlphaTauri of G-Dub V-Dub in 9th, Jetbelly 1's Mercedes in 10th, and the 2 Ferraris and the McLaren in 11th, 12th, and 13th. Just about a minute away here from lights out. Let's see some clean racing, everyone. As always in this league, we will run a formation lap. Today's formation lap will be in honor of Roman Grosjean and all of the valiant men and women of the safety and medical staffs of today's earlier F1 race around Bahrain. Really, really glad to see that Grosjean was able to make it out of that all right. Hopefully all of these racers will be able to get through this formation lap in the same way. Clean so far as everybody warms up their tires. Oh, we've had a disqualification from the Ferraris, both disqualified, unfortunately, and the McLaren as well. So we'll just have 10 racers as we head around this formation lap. No Ferraris, 1 McLaren down. Should leave a little bit more room on the track for the remaining racers today. Just another half lap to go. Hopefully nobody else has any issues warming up their tires. Looks like we have the AlphaTauri in front with the softs on. Let's go ahead and see if we can check who else has which tires on today before we begin the race. All on softs. What do you know? Wouldn't have guessed it. Thank you to all of our viewers so far. This is the test race around Belgium for Tribune Racing League at Tribune_Racing_League, hosted by @F1 Tribune on Instagram. For those of you just joining in, my name is TJ Gagne. My Instagram is @F1A_review. Let's get ready for the opening moments of the test race of 2020's Belgian Grand Prix for Tribune Racing season. And they're off. Looks like a pretty solid start out of B37. He's going to hold it through the first line unless Vital Spartan can come around. Nope, everybody's behind. Nobody seems to have crashed in the first sector. Pretty well done there. Let's stay on board as they come up through Eau Rouge on the first lap of this 22-lap race around Spa. Vital Spartan looking like he's trying to make a move on the back Kemmel straight around this AlphaTauri. Will he be able to late brake and come up around Les Combes in front of the AlphaTauri? Seems like he will. What a move by Vital Spartan. But the AlphaTauri is not giving up lightly. McLaren is also going to go ahead and try to make a move. The AlphaTauri has the outside line. Unlikely he'll be able to hold it. But he does. Valiant race between these front three racers so far. This McLaren really wants to give it to the AlphaTauri of B37 Louise. Flat out around this back sector of the track as they come around the bottom. Vital Spartan still ahead, but not by much. And the Haas of D. Smurfin trying to make a approach on the McLaren ahead of him, who has fallen back a bit from the AlphaTauri. They are all about a half second away from each other as they come around the third sector through Blanchimont, just a few seconds away from the bus stop. Who will late brake and get through the chicane ahead and start lap 2 ahead? It'll be Vital Spartan, followed by the AlphaTauri of B37 Wies, McLaren's EDMG, and D. Smurfin. Vital Spartan, of course, has put up the fastest lap of the race so far, having completed it first. We have a yellow flag through Sector 3, presumably of one of the AI disqualified Ferraris. Not sure if they are still running or what the deal is there. We've got a virtual safety car around all of the track now. This should give some of the pack the opportunity to catch up, especially the Red Bull of PB715, who has dropped down from his starting position of 7th into 11th place. Not a lot of movement around the grid. Other than that, Daniel as well has dropped down, unfortunately. The 2 racing points now sit 6th and 7th. They'll hope to get ahead of FIFA Legend 123 on the restart. But it's looking like it'll be a 4-way battle between Vital Spartan, B37 Wies, EDMG. Oh, a 3-second time penalty for track limits, it looks like, from the Mercedes of Jet Belly 1. This was a theme in the Tier 2 race of Tribune Racing League's inaugural race yesterday for Tier 2. Almost everybody with a lot of penalties. In fact, somebody dropped down, Jasper Plays 999 dropped down from 2nd into 4th after accruing 21 seconds worth of penalties. Really kind of shameful out of the showing from them. But we have the McLaren finally trying to make a move on the AlphaTauri, but he does have the outside line. The AlphaTauri is going to cut back in and remain ahead of EDMG, but D. Smurfin is right there. DRS has now been enabled as we come into lap 3 around Spa. Oh, here comes D. Smurfin around La Source. Will he make a move on the McLaren? Looks like he has. Maybe a little bit of contact there. Hopefully not too much damage has been sustained by either of the 2 drivers. B37 Wies is going to use this opportunity to just try to pull ahead. We'll see if D. Smurfin can bridge the gap as they come down the Kemmel Straight. DRS for that McLaren. They're both going to try to make a move on B37. Let's see how they come through Les Combes. D. Smurfin ahead of the McLaren with B37 Weeze behind. Wow, let's go ahead and go on board with B37 Weeze as he tries to fight back and get back into second position. He's Captain McLaren there. Let's check in real quick. All right, here he goes. He's behind the McLaren now. Really incredible move out of D. Smurfin, moving from fourth to second in the span of about 3 seconds there, going around both of the McLaren and the AlphaTauri. Weeze is struggling a bit to keep up with the McLaren at this point. Let's see if he'll be able to recover or if there's been any damage sustained, and any of these three drivers will have to head into the pits. This battle has allowed Vital Spartan 3 to move ahead a bit more. I'm looking now at the standings, and we've had Daniel in the Racing Point, one of these admins, again, fall down the leaderboard into 11th. We've got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings for PB715 in the Racing Point as we come through the bus stop. D. Smurfin, the McLaren of EDMG, and B's 37 Weeze are all going to stay ahead. Vital Spartan has put up a new fastest lap, but that is immediately replaced by D. Smurfin 42.20, a 146.24. A 3-second time penalty goes to G-Dub V-Dub back there in 8th place. We now have 3 penalties, one for Jet Belly 1, G-Dub V-Dub, and PB715, who is trying to recover back there at the last place in this race. Late braking is not going to help any of these three drivers who are still competitively fighting with each other through Sector 2 and into this hairpin. That was a personal best sector from B37 Weeze in Sector 1 as he tries to bridge the gap to that McLaren ahead of him. Hard braking on the downward hill on this backside of Spa as we come through the second sector. Flat out through here should mean the AlphaTauri will not be able to make it on this attempt, but perhaps around the bus stop we'll see something good out of them. Getting a request to go on with FIFA Legend. They are right behind B37 Weeze. Let's check in with them. There they are in that AlphaTauri, or sorry, Alfa Romeo. Sauber, if you will, if you're old enough to remember those days. All 2 years ago. Although they are less than a second behind the 4th place AlphaTauri ahead of them, they are not looking like they're going to quite be able to make a move this lap. Let's see if the AlphaTauri does. Nope, the McLaren is really close to the Haas ahead of it. We are still running with Vital Spartan 3 in first. D. Smurfin is in second in the Haas, but the McLaren has now put up the fastest lap time and is in 3rd place, driven by EDMG. Weeze still sits in 4th place in that AlphaTauri. FIFA Legend falls back to 1.5 seconds behind the pack in front of him, so we'll head up above, but we'll check in with actually Ross behind FIFA Legend as he tries to make a move into 5th place and close the gap into those fighting for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th ahead of FIFA Legend 1, 2, 3. It's looking like he might have a chance as they come through the back hairpin of Bruxelles. Appears Daniel has made up a few plays. Oh, I apologize. He has fallen back to 10th again from 9th. Racing points were looking pretty good heading into this. I hate to speak ills of the admin who will inevitably watch back their race on Twitch, but it has not been an incredible showing from them thus far. Perhaps Ross will be able to make a move here on the 5th or next lap, the 6th lap of this race to get ahead of FIFA Legend. We are still sitting with the same 4 in front. It is still neck and neck and neck as they close up to Vital Spartan 3 ahead of them. But we will stay on with Ross for now. And FIFA Legend dives into the pit, so Ross is going to be able to come up 1 place. The pit window is now open. They're assuming a one-stop strategy out of the racers today. Let's see if others will pit on the next lap, or if FIFA Legend will try to get the undercut a bit on the racers today. Ross here is going to try to close in on the AlphaTauri ahead of him as he comes up to the Kemmel Straight, too far behind to get any sort of DRS, so the back wing will remain closed, unfortunately. We're going to go ahead and move up to the McLaren real quick, who is right behind D. Smurfin and Vital Spartan. We'll see if any of these three dive into the pits like FIFA Legend 123 did just before this time. A lockup from the McLaren as they come down Bruxelles. That deep descent is difficult on the braking. D. Smurfin is going to try to do everything he can to get ahead of Vital Spartan on this lap. Is anybody going to pit out of these front competitors? We've still got the AlphaTauri right behind in fourth. Ross is only 2.5 seconds, 2.25 seconds behind that. And then we've got G-Dub, V-Dub, 11 seconds behind there. So it's looking like just these top five, but if FIFA Legend 123 can start making up some ground, he may be able to get some points in this first test race around Spa. Not that I think points will be awarded, I'm actually not sure. 5 penalties. We've got one from B37 Weeze now, who is definitely trying to make up some ground ahead of them. Nobody dives into the pits of these three. Will B37 Weeze. He will not. Another lockup from the McLaren. It may be just about time to come in, as those tires are not going to be feeling great right about now. I'm seeing a bit of a warble in them. Let's go back to V37 Weeze real quick. He has not gone into the pits. We'll go up and check in as DRS is awarded to EDMG, and go into full race mode for a while as we try to watch this battle unfold. Have to give it to Vital Spartan 3 so far. Shout out to him. That is actually another one of the admins, Philip. He's from the US, led just about this entire race. Not sure D. Smurfin is going to be able to put enough together to get ahead of him, but we will see how pit strategies work out. He's going to try to make a move. The Haas is right there. Let's see if we can get a better view on him as he tries to come up. Alpha Integral of the McLaren has now DNF'd, as has PB715's Red Bull. That's 2 out. There is some thought that there was an AI running for the Ferraris and the McLaren, so not sure how much that affects things, but sad to see the Red Bull PB715 leave the race. Will we see... Oh, we are now under a safety car, so yes, we will definitely see everybody move into the pits and hope that things shake out for them. Well, almost caught speeding into the pit lane there, D. Smurfin for 220. Let's ride on with the Mercedes, who should presumably be heading out of the pits first again. Oh. Here he comes. Out of the pits first. And still behind the safety car. We've got Vital Spartan out of the pits first, followed by the McLaren, who's made up a place on D. Smurfin. Must have had a better pit stop through there. B37 Weeze is still in 4th place, followed by Ross. Seems that penalty did not affect B37 Weeze too much, who remains in 4th place. FIFA Legend is in 6th, with G-Dub, V-Dub coming up in 7th. Daniel is in 8th, followed by Jet Belly's 1 Mercedes, who's moved up a place in the pits, and both of the Ferraris now in 10th and 11th place. Presumably the retirement of PB715 is what has caused the safety car. Should have just a little over 60% of this race to still run, if I'm doing my math correctly. Safety car will stay out presumably one more lap, and then we will get underway. We see the 2 running in 3rd and 4th. warming up their tires there, hoping to get ahead of them. We've got most everybody looks like they've moved over to hards. Let's double check that on screen real quick here. Mixture of hards and mediums. Not sure if anybody's going to try to go for a two-stop strategy or not. The McLaren really wants to get ahead of Vital Spartan, but could have issues in the final stages of this race if they decide to go to the end on those mediums. Let's also go ahead and check on the position changes so far. B37 Weeze has moved down 3 positions as everybody ahead of him has moved up 1. Rossi's actually moved up 2, as has G-Dub, V-Dub. We've seen a position improvement from the 9th, 10th, and 11th place racers, but Daniel as well has moved down 3 positions. Perhaps he'll be able to recover a bit on this restart. Looks like the safety car has not decided to come in this lap. Should be one more time around before we're underway at racing again. As we're still with the safety car, I'm going to go ahead and head over to FIFA Legend 123, who seems to keep getting requests in the chat. Maybe you'll like to watch them drive around the circuit behind that Mercedes safety car. Just a half lap to go under the safety car. Should be coming in at the end of this lap. It'll be another 2 laps before we get any sort of DRS, but perhaps EDMG's McLaren with the medium tires will be able to make a move over Vital Spartan in first place. Oh, we've had Rossi move down the lineup into 6th place, presumably giving a position to FIFA Legend 123. Not sure what's caused that. Pretty exciting race so far, I have to say. We're coming up on 10th lap. Safety car will come in this lap per race control. Much cleaner race than yesterday's Tier 2 race, not to disparage any of the drivers there, but clearly a higher caliber in Tribune Racing League's Tier 1. Not to say anything bad about some of the Tier 2 drivers. Some of them were quite impressive, but much cleaner racing so far today. It's been impressive to see thus far these top 6 really going at it pretty intensely. Just about another 15 seconds under the safety car here as they come up to the final chicane. Vital Spartan will take the place of the safety car up to the line, and anybody can pass once they have finally passed the start-finish line. Let's see how it goes on the restart. Check in ahead of them on the actual onboard. D. Smurfin still in 3rd place. He's got B37 Weeze right behind him. McLaren of EDMG 4494 is still behind Vital Spartan 3. Probably not going to be able to make a move this lap. Might need to wait until DRS comes under play. But Weeze will try to make a move. Oh, D. Smurfin can brake just slightly later and stay ahead of him through Les Combs. through the descent of Bruxelles. We'll move over to EDMG as he hunts down Vital Spartan in Sector 2 of Spa. Will he be able to make a move near the end of this lap around the chicane, or will he need DRS before he is able to get ahead on the medium tires ahead of Vital Spartan 3's Mercedes? Really close, about a quarter of a second behind him, running in dirty air, unfortunately, so he might have a little bit of trouble. But doing everything he can to try to get around before DRS has to come into play, and he can hopefully start running away with it and get ahead of him and not have to keep dueling with Vital Spartan. Beautiful lines through Blanchimont as they come up through the last little stretch here to the bus stop chicane. Late braking. He's got the outside line, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to stay behind Vital Spartan. Very close, though, as they come down the pit straight. Perhaps he'll be able to make a move at La Source. He's coming around the outside. It's going to be tight. It's a late break, but he's got the wrong line. Oh, no, that Mercedes. Oh, can he pull it ahead? He's on those softer tires. He will come up through Eau Rouge and get ahead of the Mercedes. What a showing from EDMG's McLaren, and over to Vital Spartan to see him slowly fade away from the McLaren. Will he be able to stay within a second? Oh, he's coming back on the Kemmel straight here. Can he late break and make a move through Les Combes? No, it's not going to happen for Vital Spartan. Vital Spartan now has D. Smurfin right behind him as well. We'll move down there, see how that battle's going. It's now a three-way. Daniel has gotten a 3-second time penalty in the Racing Point for multiple warnings, by the way. D. Smurfin trying hard to get ahead of Vital Spartan. They're both on the hard tires, so no competitive advantage there. Vital Spartan seems to be ahead of D. Smurfin in ability thus far this race, but could just have the advantage around Spa with the setup he's chosen. But that McLaren is running away with it. He has moved out of DRS range just in time for DRS to open in a lap. And the Vital Spartan hits that dirt. Doesn't slow him down too much. He is, again, about a half second ahead of D. Smurfin. B37 Louise right behind, and we've got FIFA Legend slightly falling back from the pack there. He's got Rossi behind him. Perhaps we'll check in with them after this lap. But want to stick on and see how things go for these three competitors. Let's go down and watch Ross try to pass FIFA Legend 1, 2, 3. Should be able to see the battle in front of them anyway. A new fastest lap from EDMG. Of course it was. He passed the Mercedes that lap. He's a second and a quarter ahead. Will Ross be able to get ahead of the FIFA 1, 2, 3 as they come up to Eau Rouge, though? He wants it. He absolutely wants it. There's no doubt about it. Coming up to Radion and onto the Kemmel straight, he will get DRS. Right about now, there it is. Back wing is open. FIFA Legend will not have DRS on the AlphaTauri ahead of him, so he will be able to make a move. But it's not going to be enough. It'll probably take another lap before we see Ross able to pass FIFA 1, 2, 3. Run up to D. Smurfin real quick, who's still right behind Vital Spartan. Wasn't able to get the competitive advantage with the DRS on that Kemmel straight. Let's see if he's able to make a move through the bus stop. The McLaren is just absolutely running away with it on those medium tires. Hopefully he'll be able to make enough time up in case he needs to get that second pit stop in. Everybody else should be able to run to the end of the race, but that McLaren may need to stop. He's already about 3 seconds ahead of the Mercedes. Could have been just about the best strategy move possible, or the worst. It'll be a few laps time before we're able to tell. Smurfin still sticking right behind Vital Spartan. Third of a second behind him on this part of the track is an impressive distance. The bus stop will tell us everything we need to know, though, for these two. Not going to happen. D. Smurfin will be stuck behind, and you can just see that McLaren off there in the distance. Let's check in with Ross as he's going to try to make a move on FIFA Legend 1, 2, 3. Still a half second behind. Perhaps the DRS this run. Ooh, that is not a good turn. Oh my goodness, he's got that AlphaTauri right behind him as well. Let's go ahead and move over to that one so that we can see this battle a little bit better. Smurfin ahead of these three, closing the gap on Vital Spartan, but not going to be able to make a move, it looks like. Oh, he has just for a moment. Let's go ahead and check in with them. Actually, yes, D-Smurfin is ahead now of Vital Spartan. Let's see just how far. There we are. And we have behind Vital Spartan AlphaTauri's B37 Wheeze still in the fight. We'll stick along with this one instead of switching back over to FIFA Legend because Ross has now fallen to the AlphaTauri. Looking at 6 penalties now as Dumpy Juggler 2-4-1 and Cruz another one. Presumably some of them have multiple penalties. We'll have to wait and see how the times work out, but the top 3 and FIFA Legend and Ross are all still without penalties as G-Dub V-Dub actually picks up another one himself. Dumpy Juggler has now retired from the session. Let's see if they have retired in a place that will not, it looks like a virtual safety car. This should bunch everybody up back on the track. Will anybody try to go into the pits and switch out to the mediums? Nobody in the front will. Virtual safety car probably wouldn't call for it. Seems like they've gotten the car off the track though and should be able to stop waving those yellow flags shortly. You won't be able to pass. Sorry, Vital Spartan. It is a VSC at the moment. Calm down. Oh, and Daniel has accrued a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. Have to be careful though, Daniel. Can't be accruing penalties for needless things. The safety car has left. Vital Spartan will make his move past D-Smurfin. Will D-Smurfin be able to counter back here through Lays Combs? It's tight. They almost touch wheels. D-Smurfin does come out ahead. The McLaren is yet again pulling ahead about 3 seconds already. D-Smurfin looking incredibly impressive in that Haas. I see some love for D-Smurfin in the chat. Shout out to D-Smurfin, really trying to bring it to the McLaren and the Mercedes. It's looking like it'll come down to these 3 with 8 laps still to go. Perhaps we'll see one of the Racing Points or FIFA Legend make a recovery. But, oh, Dumpy Juggler has now left the session. Oh, D-Smurfin has accrued a 3-second time penalty. That is going to make things incredibly interesting. It is really going to affect his time. He's not going to be able to get ahead of the McLaren if they are going to stay out and not pit again. He'll need to finish 3 seconds ahead of Vital Spartan if he wants to retain second on the podium. But with how competitive Vital Spartan 3 has been so far, I don't foresee that happening. Vital Spartan now is having to deal with the AlphaTauri behind him, who as well has a penalty. Let's go ahead and move over to them real quick. There we are. That AlphaTauri has looked good from both of their drivers, sitting in 4th and 6th place so far, though both have penalties. We do strict track line stringency here, so oftentimes we will see quite a few penalties as these are amateur racers. That they do it for the love of the sport and for letting you all watch out there on Twitch. Thank you everybody who's joined along with us so far. We're an hour into this Twitch session so far and 15 laps into a 22-lap race. This is Tribune Racing League. That's at Tribune_Racing_League, hosted by at F1 Tribune on Instagram. If you're tuned in late, my name is TJ Gagne. My Instagram is at F1A_review. But it's not about me, it's about Tribune Racing League and this test race around the Belgian circuit with just 7 laps to go as they come around the 2nd sector here. That AlphaTauri is still right behind Vital Spartan's Mercedes. Vital Spartan has now picked up a 3-second penalty, which is great news for the Haas of D-Smurfin. The only 3 to pick up penalties thus far are McLaren's EDMG, FIFA Legends, and Ross. Well done thus far. as they come to the Kimmel Straight. He will have DRS. It is likely he will try to attempt to pass here, probably right as they come up to late break on Les Combs. Will it happen? No, the Mercedes has the tighter line and stays ahead of the AlphaTauri, who continues to fight valiantly, but cannot make a move on the superior Mercedes ability of Vital Spartan 3. We've got some more yellow flags, as often happens in virtual racing, but those are quickly cleared up. B37 Weeze has accrued another 3-second time penalty, fighting here with Vital Spartan. He'll need to watch himself if he wants to stay ahead of FIFA Legend 123 in this attempt. But he has pulled ahead of Vital Spartan 3 there. Will he be able to retain this lead ahead of him? It's looking like it. We'll go ahead and move on to the actual onboard of the Mercedes and see what he sees. Vital Spartan doesn't have to worry too much. Weeze does have multiple penalties here, so he should still be ahead of him in time at the end of the race, but he is pulling ahead now, and through Blanchimont, Daniel picks up another 3-second time penalty, by the way. Into the bus stop, he will stay ahead of the AlphaTauri. No incidents there. You can see him in the rear view mirrors, falling behind now. Let's try to check in. There he is. Will he be able to make a move around La Source? They're using the same line, so unlikely. And there he is. You can see FIFA Legend 123 right behind them. Let's move down to them and see how they're doing at this juncture in the race. Try to watch the battle ahead of him. They're coming up to the Kimmel Straight. FIFA Legend will need to close in a little bit if he wants DRS, but he's not going to be able to pull it, so we'll go ahead and we'll move over to Oh, did he get it? Sounds like he did. Will Weeze be able to make a move on Vital Spartan ahead of him? We should be able to just make out the move ahead of us. There goes Weeze, but Vital Spartan stays ahead. FIFA Legend closes the gap a little bit. He's less than a second away, about a half second now. B37 Weeze wide to the right a bit. And here we have FIFA Legend 123 closing the gap. Another three-way battle for third here. But 1, 2, and 3 are now pretty well spread apart. It's probable those will be our podium finishers unless McLaren needs to pit again. They are on the mediums as opposed to most of the rest of these drivers who are on the hards. McLaren has not been able to pull ahead enough of a lead to give them a free pit stop, so if they are going to make a move, they'll need to do it soon. FIFA Legend 123, just under a half second behind the battle for third ahead of him. Without any penalties, FIFA Legends should be able to move into third place by the end of the race on time alone. But he will try to make a move here at the bus stop to do it naturally and not have to worry about penalties. He moves ahead of the AlphaTauri. Will he retain the place through the bus stop? He does. Very little contact, if any, but that gives Vital Spartan the opportunity to move ahead with just 4 laps left in this race. D-Smurfin and EDMG just running away with it. They're in first and second. B37 Weeze is not giving up, though. He is right behind the Alfa Romeo of FIFA Legend 123. Will FIFA Legend 123 be able to become a F1 Legend 123 in third place after time penalties on this race? B37 Weeze's DRS is not going to be able to do it for him, and he will stay behind the AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri is still just behind Mercedes Alpha Spartan. Vital Spartan ahead of him. Through the descent of Bruxelles, the Vital Spartan locks up, but will retain ahead. FIFA Legend 123, I mean, if he can make a move on Vital Spartan here, that would be great. He might be able to close in on D-Smurfin and possibly, you know, on penalties, look for a second place finish here. But I would just be careful, not take too hard of a line, and just finish out this test reign. Oh, now he's been given a 3-second time penalty. He will need to get ahead of Vital Spartan 3's Mercedes. This is not a joke any longer for FIFA Legend 123. Only the McLaren has done well in terms of penalties today. We also have Ross down in 8th, but he is in 8th, unfortunately, so not quite making it count without the lack of penalties, but that McLaren really looks good. What I can tell you is that McLaren is run by Edward of the UK. He wasn't in the top 5 qualifiers, but perhaps his race pace these days he's been practicing, who knows, it's looking a lot better. FIFA Legend 123 will try to make a move on Vital Spartan, who's now 5.5 seconds behind D-Smurfin ahead of him. Not going to be able to make up much ground there. D-Smurfin's still 3.5 seconds behind the McLaren, so not a lot of luck on his part. FIFA Legend really trying to make a move here. He'll have DRS. He'll try to late break through Lace Combs. Ooh, at about 75 out, but not going to be enough. Obviously a slightly better setup from Vital Spartan there. Let's see. Oh, a lockup from Vital Spartan. Getting to the end of the race here, his tires might be getting a little faded. He could struggle to stay in front of FIFA Legend 123. Why don't we go ahead and check and see what the penalties are? Let me see if I actually know how to do that. So we have 3 seconds for D-Smurfin, 3 seconds for Vital Spartan, 3 for FIFA Legend 123, and B37 Weez has 6, as does G-Dub D-Dub. So they will stay back there. Maybe even Ross will be able to move up ahead of them on timing if he can get a little bit faster. But the 3 penalties in second, third, and fourth should equate out to them just about holding their positions, whichever those may be at the end of the race. Again, to check in, that McLaren has medium tires on, while the second through fifth all have hard, so they won't need to pit again. The McLaren is hoping he can go another 2 laps without any sort of tire issues. Let's see if his suspicions are correct. Check the position changes real quick as well. The McLaren's moved up 2 positions, as has D-Smurfin. Vital Spartan has moved down 1, but FIFA Legend has moved up 2. Quite a bit of movement as we see that B37 Weez has moved down 4 positions. G-Dub, D-Dub, and Jet Belly 1 have moved up 2. And it's been up and down as we head down the rest of the field. This Alfa Romeo is not quite going to be able to make it yet again on this lap. Just 2 more attempts after this. We'll see if FIFA Legend 123 can become that F1 legend like we said. D-Smurfin is now just under 3 seconds behind the McLaren. Not sure if those McLaren tires are finally starting to fade and D-Smurfin will be able to make a move. We'll check in with that if anything happens. We'll move back 1 to B37 Weez, who's right behind FIFA Legend 123, see if we can get a better view of the battle ahead of him. Ooh, and a fastest lap is put up by Daniel in that racing point. Impressive work from him on those softs near the back, at the back. He will get a point for fastest point as he's in the points, so I guess that's something to shoot for, but he is 47 seconds behind the rest. D-Smurfin is DNF'd. What has happened to D-Smurfin? What has happened? Well, my goodness. I don't know what exactly has happened to D-Smurfin there. I will try to check the chat here in a second, but FIFA Legend now has moved up into second place with Vital Spartan FIFA Legend has moved into third place with Vital Spartan moving into second. And the McLaren is now 8.5 seconds ahead of them. My goodness. What has happened to D-Smurfin? He is still ahead of Daniel, but it is a DNF for him. Not sure if maybe some connectivity issues. Let me see if I can try to check in with the chat real quick. Perhaps he's updated everybody as to what's happened with him. He went into a wall, it says. He stopped and went into a wall. What a sad showing from D-Smurfin 4220. Thank you for updating the chat so quickly, though, so that everybody who is watching along can know what has happened to you. As we watch these final moments of the race, the McLaren is still in first. Vital Spartan is in second with FIFA Legend 123. Sorry to those of you in the chat who switched your allegiance from FIFA Legend 123 to D-Smurfin. That might have been a little preemptive, as FIFA Legend 123 looks like they will be able to finish out this race with pretty impressive. Oh, they have spun. My goodness, I've spoken too soon. Oh my goodness. Well, we will move over to B37 Weez. Hopefully I won't be able to jinx them with 1 lap to go. Sorry, FIFA Legend 123, you've not been able to do it this time. You will just remain a FIFA Legend and not an F1 Legend. Our Current podium places with just about 1 lap to go stand with McLaren in first still, with Vital Spartan in second, and B37 Weeze, who will not be able to catch Vital Spartan 3, in third. AlphaTauri, though, sitting pretty, if you will, with third and fourth, as G-Dub V-Dub has moved into fourth place. The other Mercedes of Jet Belly 1 is in fifth. Ross is in sixth. It's possible he'll be able to move up some podium places by the end of the day. Both of those Ferraris in 7th and 8th, and Daniel's Racing Point down in 9th. Sorry to see what has happened to both D. Smurfin, who's crashed into a wall, and FIFA Legend, who has moved. I'm sorry, did I say Ferraris? One is a Ferrari, one is an Alfa Romeo. FIFA Legend, who has moved down into 3rd place, that is, or 8th place. That is unfortunate from him. You never know what can happen here in F1, though. A late race spin is always possible. And it'll see B37 Weeze onto the podium places, who won't be able to pass Vital Spartan 3, and McLaren picking up the first win of the season through this test race, while another lockup from the Mercedes. Those tires must be getting pretty ragged at this point. Let's go ahead and move over to the McLaren as he tries to cross the finish line. Won't see much of a race between the two behind, unfortunately. I don't see it happening out of B37 Weeze, but I will check the times. He's still about 1/3 of a second behind. Really well done out of the McLaren. Correct strategy call, moving on to the mediums and being able to retain that through the race. I am impressed that those tires were able to hold up. B37 Weeze is really right behind the McLaren still, but we won't be able to see it when I expanded this view, unfortunately, but we will be able to see EDMG past the finish line. Shout out to Edward from the UK, who races under EDMG. Great first test race from the McLaren driver. Right behind him, we will move over to the Mercedes as he passes the line with B37 Weeze right behind. 2 and 3 for them. We'll check in with G-Dub V-Dub as he passes the line with Jet Belly behind, and Ross in 6th. Thank you so much to everybody who has watched along on this first Tier 1 race of F1 Tribune Racing. That's at Tribune_Racing_League on Instagram and Twitch. Definitely make sure to follow along with us as we continue on through the season. Our next race will be held at Australia. I may be commentating, somebody else may be commentating. For those of you who have come in late, my name is TJ Gagne. My Instagram is at F1A_review. But this is at Tribune Racing League, underscores between those words. We've seen an impressive race so far. Again, McLaren EDMG in first, followed by Vital Spartan, B37 Weeze in third, and Ross has moved up into fourth on time penalties from the two ahead of him. So Racing Point will pick up a few more points from the admin there. Thank you so much again to everybody for watching along. This has been a pleasure for me. I will hope to commentate along with you through the season, as other people will commentate as well. Make sure to check out Tier 2s on Saturday and Tier 1s on Sunday, just after race time, though we're heading into the off season, so it won't be much racing to look forward to there. You can find racing here, though. Again, it's Tribune Racing League, Tribune_Racing_League, hosted by at F1 Tribune on Instagram. My name again has been TJ Gagne of at F1A_review on Instagram as well. Let's check out the podium here. Look at that blue and orange McLaren driver on the top step. What a race. No penalties at all from the McLaren as he sprays the other virtual competitors with champagne. No masks here as there's no COVID in F1 2020, but there is on the podium now, unfortunately. What a race day we've had, an impressive showing from the drivers in real life. So glad to hear that Grosjean has been all right, and an impressive showing from the racers here in Tier 1 of Tribune Racing League. 41 minutes and 48 seconds is the time that it took the McLaren to complete it. 11 seconds was Vital Spartan behind him. Really impressive showing. Just one stop out of the top 5. The move over to the mediums was the right strategy. This session will be ending in 30 seconds. Again, thank you one more time from @Tribune Racing League. That's Tribune_Racing_League, hosted by @F1 Tribune. My name again has been TJ Gagne of @F1A_review on Instagram. Thank you for watching along with us. Thank you for sticking through this test race, and we hope to see you again next weekend, where either I or somebody else will be commentating, and we will have more F1 from both real life and this season here in this session. Thank you again. Goodbye.